he's like, obviously we're not, he's like, we're not looking at the same image. And I'm like, dude, you slathered so much blur on this iPhone shot. Like, I don't want to use this shot. And he just kept hammering me. He was just like, well, my daughter doesn't think these are good. And I'm like, I don't know your daughter, but these are really, really good shots. Like, they're crisp, they're clear, they're bang on. And so finally I basically had to fire him. I was just like, okay, you know what? Like, no hard feelings. I haven't deposited your check yet. I'm like, I'll pop it in the mail. I'm like, sometimes like when you match up with creative services, it's not a good match, like, oh, and then he's like, well, he's like the because you shot everything on a white background. He's like, could we Photoshop outside behind me? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to start doing that. So he just, I don't know. And I don't know. I felt bad because it was just like, you go home to your family with these really nice shots, and then all of a sudden, like, your daughter starts hammering on you about how old you look and everything. And I'm like, you don't look old. And he's like, well, he's like, well, she is right. Like, going on LinkedIn and stuff, that's a young person's game. And I'm like, don't think like that. Like, what? No. So basically I was just like, I'll tell you, I'll mail you back your money.
Oh, Don's got a baby. Sorry, Sid. We got
Marion. Oh, the baby.
Oh. Okay, show off, Papa.
I've been babysitting for the last hour. And I want to show you this new trick that we've been working on, where I throw her in the air and she spins around 3 times. So she's so tired. Isn't she pretty? Isn't she beautiful?
Absolutely.
She's so tiny.
She's 2 weeks, 2 days.
Mark,
3 days. 2 weeks, 3 days.
You gotta see. Wait. Don't stay right there.
Oh.
There's
yawn.
Here you go.
She's so precious.
Got her head?
Yeah, I got her.
It's his new grandbaby. Brand new grandbaby.
New grandbaby, brand new.
And a brand new haircut.
Yes. Owie zowie.
And a complaining kitten.
There's our baby.
Aw. Is that
He's a star.
You have a new dog too, right?
Yeah, a nice wild one.
Just sort of showed up one day.
Yeah, it's been about a month, but still work in progress.
So, Sid, you were talking about unhappy clients?
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to fire a client. So I sent him his check back, and I was like, it's no hard feelings. Like, luckily I didn't deposit your money. I think it's best if we just kind of go. And then, so after that, and he's just like, okay, he's like, I totally understand. He's like, I wasn't clear in my, then afterwards, the next night I get an email. He sends an email at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And he was just like, well, he's like, since I already have this shot that I stuck my iPhone filters on, he's like, could I just go ahead and stick that up on my LinkedIn page? And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not comfortable with you doing that. Your check's already being returned. Like, best you just delete that file. And so now I'm sort of like, every couple of days I sort of jump on his LinkedIn page just to make sure he's not using it. But
you're nice that you sent the check back, because I would have been like, no.
Yeah, I was like, every once in a while, like it's like every once in a long while I'll just get one person where, I don't know, like the stars did not align for this. Like, and everything led up to it was good. Like, the shoot went really well. The images, like, I'm a little upset that I can't do anything with the images now, because like, I guess I could throw one up on my website because they're strong shots. But every once in a while I just get like one of these weird, and I figured it's either that or clients nowadays, they're so ready, like at the drop of a hat, to just start slamming people on social media. They're like, oh my God, he blah, 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 and he's horrible and treated me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's just like, I made more in unemployment this week than what the check was for. So like, just, like, we'll just give me a chance to dust everything off and, make sure that everything in here was working right. It was like, it was just, every once in a while you get one of those weird people. It's like,
it was probably really hard for him to have to go home and have his daughter just say, you look old. That must hurt.
Yeah.
That must like,
it's like, shut your daughter up.
I know, because that must be so hard, especially if you're just been fired and you're going to need to look for another job. And it's just like, to hear that comment in that one time, it can just like,
yeah, it totally deflates you. And it's like, I have a like a little display wall, and every time I meet with somebody, I tell them everybody on this wall, every single person, when they came in, they told me the exact same thing. They're like, I don't photograph worth crap. So, You know, you've got a task ahead of you. And I'm like, you like the imperfections that you see, like nobody else is going to see that. You're the only one that's going to like ride your ass about how ugly you think you are, or fat you are, or you've got, you know, too much waddle under your chin. Nobody else cares. Like nobody else is going to see that. So the minute, you know, like I show it to him, and when we showed him in the studio, he was all fired up. You know, he was just like, oh my God, these look fantastic and they're crisp and they're clean. And he's just like, I look like, you know, regal almost. But yeah, it's like, you know, get home and all of a sudden your family members start telling you how old you look. It's like, don't, oh God, like don't listen to that.
That was like, yeah.
It's like, and that's the thing. It's too, and it's hard. Like, I don't know how, like I've asked people, I'm like, how do you, you can't argue with that. Like if somebody is that adamant about how they feel they look, you can't,
There's
it's
no
not
way.
like I can be like, yeah, like you're full of shit. What are you talking about, dude? You know, like everybody can photograph well, but when it gets to that level of they've already convinced themselves that this isn't acceptable anymore. And it's like, okay, well, at that point, I can't massage your ego to the point where you're going to change how you think you look. So I think it's better to just give them back cash. Just be like, you know, go find somebody else that, you know, you gel with, like somebody that, you know, he's like, well, maybe I should have done the shots outside and, you know, have like nature in the background and everything. And I'm like, okay, you know, like do that, go for it.
That's a different thing too. I mean,
right.
Part of me, I totally get what you done, because I've done that. I did a wedding once, and the young lady, the last wedding I ever did, it probably was the reason the last wedding I ever did, was the young lady, the bride was maybe 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And she wore a strapless wedding gown.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, but she looked like the backside of a cow stuffed into a sack. Arms were about this. She comes back and she's in tears. I did a really good job with that wedding. I know I did. I made her look good. I made her husband look good. He probably weighed 60 pounds dripping wet in a tux. I made them look great. I did beautiful behind the scenes shots for them, a whole bit. She comes back and she's got her whole family with her, and she's in tears. How could you treat me? You didn't make me look like the other girl. Like this is the other bride you did. And she holds up this picture of a bride who was a beautiful bride since she was a top model.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It probably helped a lot, you know? And I said, I was just kind of crushed. I thought, you really think that I treated you badly? So I just said, you know, here's your money back.
Yep.
I mean, I can't reshoot them. Here's your money back. Then 3 weeks later, I'm online and I read where there's a website out there telling girls how to get their money back from wedding photographers. And guess what scenario 2 was? Because I kept looking at the groom and he kept looking at the floor. He kept looking at the floor and looking around. Right. He was like, he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It was dad and mom and the girl, and they were in tears, and dad was angry. How did you do this to my little girl? Groom was just kind of like, you know, like this.
He's like, I'm
and
not
I
here.
realized I'd been suckered by this thing. I don't know. I don't think it was the knot. I think that's a newer one, but it was a wedding thing, how to get your money back from wedding photographers.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy. Yeah,
stop doing that. Once I did a brochure for a company, and this was you know, I've been in the business savvy, you know, so I had them sign the Polaroids, so it was all accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And the pictures, they accepted pictures, sent me a really nice handwritten note about how much they love the pictures, printed the brochure, handed the brochure out, and then sent me a note from their attorney saying they didn't want to pay me because the pictures were subpar. Okay. So I went to small claims court. I didn't even argue with small claims court, and filed a case. They showed up at the small claims court and said, well, we decided we didn't like the pictures, Your Honor. And I pulled out the signed Polaroids, the note from them, the fact that they had printed the brochure, and the clause in my contract which stated the right to use those photographs are only transferred upon full payment of the invoice.
Oh,
Sir.
And the judge awarded me the money and $2,000 additional.
nice.
So that, because in the state of Arizona, and Stephanie probably knows this because she's been in business here, you can sue somebody and win, but you still have to go back to court to collect.
Oh, wow.
So you can win a judgment, but you have no teeth to get that judgment unless you go back to court, and then the sheriff can go and
wow.
seize property or whatever. So luckily they paid me, and I got my money and I got $2,000 from them. So
Wow.
contract law is the toughest law around. You go with the contract, you're always good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
But in your case, I would have probably done the same thing. The bad will isn't worth it.
Right. That's what I figured. And it wasn't a substantial amount of money. We've had corporate jobs where it's like we worked with real estate firms that were redoing your whole. We did one where we redid the whole website. A design company hired me to come in and do all these images, and they had planned out. It was a multi-day thing. And one of the things the employees of this company wanted to do was they wanted to do top down, like we had the camera aimed straight down at a table. And then for all the employees on each page, they wanted sort of like, get to know us by the things that we have on our desks. So it was like each person did a little stage thing where it was like, a Red Sox baseball cap. So we did it exactly to what they wanted, exactly to their spec. They gave us the banner size that was going to be on the top of the thing where it's all going to show up. We gridded everything out on a table. We used painter's tape to grid everything out. And we did all of that stuff, and we submitted all those images. And then what ended up happening was an employee that worked for the company that had nothing to do with the shoot decided he was going to come in and throw his cloud around and be like, those are terrible. Like, well, I can't believe you accepted those. And so they were telling us like this company was just kind of like, well, they're all out of focus. And it's like, no, they're not all out of focus. Everything was shot. We were tethered. And not only that, but we had one person from the company that was like stationed at that laptop that worked for that company who was signing off everything that we did.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like, so they were trying to get a reshoot, but they didn't get one. They paid for that day, and then we came back on a fifth day and we redid it the new way that they wanted to do it. So they paid for but it was just, they were just like, oh, well, they're all out of focus. And I was like, no, they're not. Well, this isn't really what we had wanted. And it's like, okay,
you signed off
your
on
signatures. Here's your signatures where you okayed it the day we did the shoot. It's just funny how sometimes people will try to just like, So anyways, long story short, it was better to just give the guys $300 and you know what, just, it's okay. It's all right. Sometimes creatives don't match up. It's not a problem. When I have people that are looking, like I have people that call me about headshots. I make sure they go through my website. If they haven't looked at my website yet, when they contact me, I'm like, get on the website and take a look at my work. If my work doesn't gel with you, I have no problem giving, recommendations of somebody that might fit your mold. Like I have no problems, because the last thing I want is somebody that's going to work with me and then be like, yeah, he's okay. Like,
Sure.
So I have no problems, farm. Like I know people that only shoot outside. So it's like, all right, if you're thinking more outside type stuff, here's a couple of people you could do. I have no problem with that, but yeah.
Alex is here. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hi, Don. I'm okay, thanks.
Yeah, Alex was doing a bike brochure for some folks, and you used Pinterest for the idea board. Is that what?
Yeah, I usually just use Pinterest just to put ideas together.
But sometimes, the client will say, I want it to look really upscale. And you'll think, yeah. Look up upscale in the dictionary. There's no photograph there that indicates what the hell you're thinking of when you say upscale. As I know, when you said it, there was something in your head. So let's go find that thing first. Let's go find what upscale means. And then we'll all be on the same page. But that worked out pretty well for you, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, came out really good, actually. I was happy.
Who else is here? We got Ling and Mike.
Oh, also, Don, I had my first gig today in 2 months.
Oh, yeah. You have to be fresh off of.
I had to. I masked up.
You do.
And I had gloves, mask, yep. So, it was a video gig. We were videoing, I was videoing a cellist playing the Bach cello suite in one of the museums because they're opening up on Monday. So they're going to release it on Monday.
Wonderful.
And it was just the two of us in the museum. So
That was nice. How
yeah, that was nice.
how did you do the music? Are you going to put the music on afterwards?
I recorded it as well. I recorded the audio as well.
Okay.
So
So you do it in one take then? Is it the whole video?
yeah, I had 3 cameras and we did like 3 takes of each movement. So
That's cool.
yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah, so that was fun. It was good to get out.
Yeah, we're all finding out that there is work out there. You know, there's stuff to do. We'll see. Sid, are you off yet? Are you off confinement yet, or?
Not yet. We're still trying to figure out where we are. The building my studio is in, it's 9 art studios. They're sort of doing a soft opening, like the door's still locked, but when you come here, just call and we'll let you in. And I picked up a bunch of masks from the local DMV. The Army was giving away masks and stuff like that. So it's still kind of a soft. They have, I think most of it has been still essential stuff. I think the governor was supposed to be doing a talk at 4:00 about, they're trying to do it in stages, but we're not sure. Like I drove by the ice cream place. They had just opened up yesterday. And I drove by last night on the way home. And it was like 30 people deep and nobody had masks and nobody was 6 feet apart. So I'm a little scared that they're going to jump the gun and, like people are just going to start getting sick all over again. And then I'm about 12 minutes from the Massachusetts border. And I thought the governor originally was going to sort of wait to see what Massachusetts was going to do. Because I know he didn't want to open up too early, and then we were going to get this influx of people from Massachusetts. So yeah, I'm still not quite sure. I've got another headshot coming in next week. I'm just going to sort of baby step it until we're sure what is going on.
Well, New York has just announced that they have their 37-point plan to reopen New York over the next 10 years is receiving some. Anyway. Well, yeah.
But then you've got like Wisconsin that like, what is it? A judge in Wisconsin just overruled the fact that everybody was shut down, and they were like, no, let everybody open back up.
No,
and it's like,
actually, that was misreported by both sides of the press, the left side and the right side. What the judge said was, well, the judge didn't say anything about the shutdown, only that rule cannot come from an unelected bureaucrat.
Oh, okay.
So an unelected health, like director of health has no constitutional right in Wisconsin to form a law that says people can't leave their houses.
Okay, yeah, he can
so
just
that's what was struck down. Now, whether the governor has that right or not, that's a total another argument. But a lot of the governors aren't doing it because they're afraid of the political fallout. Right. It's like, well, I didn't do it. So, but photography is happening here in the Valley. We are open as of Monday. A couple of my friends said that their phones started ringing on Sunday when people because we've been kind of gun shy. This would be, Steph, if they had renewed it, that would have been the 3rd time it was renewed, because they told us twice before that was going to be off, and then they didn't. So a lot of people were hanging back to make sure it was. And there are photo shoots going on today because people need what we do. So
I was telling Sid that, like the outdoor stuff I'm going to be doing, it's going to be 100 degrees and no humidity. Like the virus is practically going to die seconds after the sunlight hits it,
Like most of us. After being in the house for 8 weeks, we're going to go outside and the sun is just going to kill us.
Get the worst suntans in history.
Oh, man.
I'm actually excited to be going out even in the 100 degrees because I'm just so desperate to get out of the house.
Absolutely. Well, the only place I think I can ride to is to ride my motorcycle down to your house for lemonade and a sandwich, and then back. So if you hear a big bike coming up your drive, you'll know who it is. But there's a lot of pent-up desire. But at the same time, there are still people shying away. And I think that's going to be That's gonna be an interesting thing. And I'm surprised by the ice cream thing, Sid. I really am. I've been arguing that people are smarter than that. Obviously,
I know
not
you
when
would
ice
hope.
cream is concerned.
Right. Well, yeah, ice cream makes me do a lot of crazy things too, but I don't know if I would, yeah. And that's the thing that's a little nervous is, like, and it's weird. It's like, we have these local Facebook groups and stuff. And of course, the loudest people that are on those groups are the ones that are like, you're violating my freedoms and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to wear a mask and I'm not going to wear this and everything. And it's like, just take safety precautions. Like we're not trying to take your guns away. We just want you to cover your mouth.
Why can't you be concerned about your civil rights and put a mask on?
Right.
If it makes everybody else feel better and you better. It doesn't
Right.
mean because you're wearing a mask that you're, giving up your civil rights.
No.
I'm very concerned about how the right of leaving your house was just sort of like thrown on us and we all went, okay, that's really scary. But at the same time, we don't need to go out and be spreading germs around.
Right.
You know what it boils down to? We shouldn't have to be told.
Right.
We really
Yes.
shouldn't. We're pretty
Right.
smart people, and we shouldn't have to be. We should have said, "Ooh, there's a virus in this ground. Man, we're gonna stay home a little bit here."
Right. There's a sickness that has no cure that's really communicable. What do we need to do? Like, yeah, you just say, what do I do? What do I have to do to make it better? And it's not enough people have been saying that.
Well, I hope everybody's working on their marketing and getting it out there because it's opening, and I would say I would use the term it's opening very fast now. I think between now and middle of June, within the next 3 to 4 weeks, most of the world is going to be open for doing what we do. No concerts, no salad bars, et cetera, but for doing what we do, they'll be open. I don't know what's going to happen in New York City. New York City is the center of all advertising here in the United States. Arguably for the world, but here in the United States for sure. They are not going back to work. So that gives us people out here in the boonies, there are going to be some smaller and medium-sized agencies in places like Phoenix, and Tucson, and Albuquerque, and New Hampshire, and places like that are going to get some big accounts because the big accounts can't
They're
get
not
to New
available.
York today.
Yep.
I mean, they're not even in the office in New York, folks. They're not even there. They're probably taking phones in their homes and things like that. But there's going to be some fallout from that. 40,000 people in New York who work in advertising lost their jobs in the last 3 weeks. That's a lot of people in one industry.
And what about LA? They're not really open up either, are they?
No, they're not. There's they're not. And they're not allowing shoots in California at all, which really makes no sense when you think about what they do allow and what they don't allow, but they are not allowing shoots to happen. So there's no TV productions going on in Hollywood. If it's a TV show shot outside of Hollywood, those shoots are opening up as the states open up. But we'll see. I mean, your favorite TV show has probably been off the air for a while, or what have you. But another nail in the coffin of Hollywood, and another perk for the Netflix people, because most of Netflix's stuff is not shot in Hollywood. It's shot in other towns and cities where there's not so many taxes, et cetera. Like Toronto, so much of it was shot in Toronto. Toronto's still closed though, so that's that's a situation as well. Nashville has not opened. They're open, but they haven't opened their recording studios. I imagine because people talking on the microphones, et cetera. But
did you hear about the choir in Amsterdam?
No, I didn't. No.
They, I guess before they got locked down, they had a choir concert, and I think 100 out of 130 of the choir caught it, and several of them died. I mean,
yes,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I heard about that. They actually did it in spite of the lockdown, didn't they? Weren't they told to lock
I
down and then
don't
they
know.
said they wouldn't do it? They had to, they did their concert.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know if I'm thinking of the same choir, but some choir did it. And the choir director was very adamant. He's like, no, we're going to be fine. And he ended up dying
Well,
from coronavirus because he's quite old. So we'll see. I've been asked to speak to ASMP members
Oh,
next Wednesday. So I'll get you guys all kinds of stuff about that. So I'll be doing a national broadcast to ASMP, at which point I'll ask them, why are you guys still around? No, I won't do that. I will not do that. It's not on my list. But they're having a hard time getting young people to ASMP. Really hard to, when I say young people, I mean anyone under 57. So, they're having their own challenges as well. We'll have to have a little chat with them, but I'm really looking forward to it. Guy went up and looked at my blog and called me and said, wow, you have some opinions. Well,
if you could just start verbalizing them a little bit more. You keep everything so clammed up inside.
I just bottle it up, Mark. And he, interestingly enough, he indicated to me he agreed with most of them. So I'm pretty excited about that. So what's happening with, let's find out, have you done any other than that shot, Sid? That was the...
we did that, and then I took a personal day, and I just kind of did some toy photography just for myself, just to get in the zone, and yeah.
My daughter came home with 2 brand new bottles of wine, beautiful bottles, great design on them, and she was going to have some friends over on Thursday and drink the 2 bottles of wine. Dad took the bottles of wine and hid them because I want to photograph them first. So they ended up having soda.
Ruined their quarantine party.
Yeah. It's a we're out of quarantine party. And they didn't have it here, by the way. They had it somewhere else. So I'm going to do those 2 bottles, and so I can use them as a bit of a tutorial, on it. Steph, are you? When's your shoot? You're going to be up. Are you going to be up in the high lift thing again?
I'm not sure. The shoot's on Tuesday. I know that the wires are going to be live. They're not turning anything.
Oh, fun!
So probably not going to be in the bucket.
Don't touch anything. There's 11 zillion volts running.
230 kilovolts.
Gee.
Yeah.
You going to do drone footage?
There's a guy there that'll be doing a drone. There's another guy with video, and I'm doing stills. But I'm going to try, instead of just doing stills like I've always done in the past, I've been working more on, doing these, like how we're doing that short video.
Yep,
so
clips.
Yes. So I reprogrammed my camera. So the shortcut button is set up now for what I think will work good. And I'm going to try while I'm in there, because the other videographer is far away. He still has the old camera that weighs like 100 pounds on his shoulder and on the tripod. So I thought it might be nice, especially I was looking at the annual, so they didn't have any of their annual meetings, right? They did all these online things, pre-recorded things. And that's what he used, is all these short little clips, and then kind of slideshow still photos in between all the clips. And so I thought, if I could get him some of these, I bet he would really like it. And so I'm just going to try while I'm in there. And if it turns out good, if not.
That type of video that he's doing from that, I mean, he's letting the camera run for long times. He's like videoing them putting up a pole or something like that.
Yeah, they set up the tripod, let it run for a while, tear it down, move it over.
Yeah, you're going to be in far more better position to create some very creative, interesting things, and that's what we can do. That's one of my 3 tenets moving forward. I don't know if you guys, some of you have heard them. Tenet number 1, if you're on time, you're late. That means with ideas, concepts, everything. If you're on time, you're late. If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, sorry, you're late to the game. You got to get ahead. Number 2, make yourself indispensable. Instead of just being a photographer who shows up when they're told, be proactive as you've never been before in your life. Be proactive. If you're like Steph, if you're driving down the highway out there where you are, and you see something interesting with those things, shoot it, send it to them. Say, hey, I got this shot. It's really cool. You don't have to send them the high res, send them the low res. Tell them they can put it on their Instagram. In fact, be a contributor to their Instagram. What the hell difference does it make? You don't make any money off those little shots anyway, but you get the big stuff. And the third one is over-deliver. Whatever you're contracted to, over-deliver. I needed 3 headshots. Well, here's 3 headshots. By the way, here's a couple of video clips that we did. Little 6-second video clips where you're down and you look up like that. You can use them on your over-deliver. Yep. But you're giving it away. Yep. No, I'm cementing a relationship with a client. Yep. That's what I'm doing.
Adding value.
I'll call it glue. How's that?
Yeah.
Alex got to hear some, did you say Bach?
Yeah, the first cello suite.
Okay. I am not familiar with that piece, but.
Oh, you will be.
Okay.
You know, the famous one. It's like everywhere.
Okay.
I'm not going to sing it because that will wreck it.
I probably do. You're not, but what's that one that everybody talk?
Here, I can probably find it.
Pachelbel's Canon. One of the most exciting cello pieces for cello ever written, since the cello does the same thing for, I think it's 340.
Yeah, you'll know it. I'll just play you a little clip. This is absolutely not. We've not done anything to this, so.
Is it suite for unaccompanied cello?
Yeah. Could you hear that?
Oh, I thought you were still looking for it. No, we didn't hear anything.
Oh, wait. I've got my headphones in, that's why. Hang on. That one.
Yes. Yep. I know that piece. That is a very famous piece. Unaccompanied, beautiful. What a great gig. How did you get the gig?
Colleague of my husband, but I added him to my mailing list in March and randomly sent him some stuff I'd been doing. So there you go.
Wow, great. So this whole marketing thing really works, huh? Yeah.
I guess so. No, I had worked with him before, but yeah, and not for a while.
Yeah, good. Well, this is the kind of stuff, I got to tell you, it's the kind of stuff that you're doing there within the music industry is you're poised for huge success, because when you think about it, that you're going to be videoing and recording a lot of musicians. They have to have their music out there, and you're providing them one of the only ways it can happen now. Maybe 2 years from now, hopefully 2 years from now or next year, sometime we'll be back in the concert halls, but it won't be the rest of 2020. It won't be. So.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. My husband's back at work in June, apparently. So we'll see.
What about Mark Lund?
I'm here. I had to unmute myself. Hello there. I've been productive this week, but also relaxing a little bit since I'm enjoying the being on my own schedule this week.
Good.
Working on doing some motion and video, learning more of that. Just, I don't know, I kind of don't have a lot going on this week, really.
Good.
DoorDashing, and I got got a few things that I'm planning on shooting this weekend. Trying to get some more food stuff going, and then the other assignments that we have, but trying to take some time and get some food stuff going. That is definitely my Achilles heel right now, is food.
Let's, there's two ways to go about shooting food. You're going to have to go out and do some Googling, but you're going to find people like Annabelle Brakey, who shoots food for, like, I want to say advertising, Starbucks, Burger King, that type of stuff. And then you have food shooting for editorial, like House and Garden magazine and some of the food magazines. Carefully study which is which. Carefully study which is which, and carefully study how you can bring those things together for yourself, because you're in a small market, Mark. You're not in New York where you can specialize on just, editorial work.
Right.
But really learn the craft. Really learn the craft of making a perfect hamburger shot to be used as an ad shot versus hamburger shot as a travel shot, or what local hotspots there are. The difference, of course, is production values. If you're going to go out and do 6 restaurants in a day, you're not going to have the production value. Where you could end up shooting a burger for 2 days. I don't think that happens much anymore, but at least a day. Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I'm working on the video stuff. Like you were talking about your friend that couldn't do the video, so he lost the whole job. So I'm trying to mess with that more, and it's not anything that I've really done. I'm working on trying to add a little bit of video stuff in when I do a product shot or food shot. And
gotta have it. Gotta have it. Sid, what we were talking about is a friend of mine here in Phoenix was asked to submit a bid for a pretty nice deal. It was like 5 hotels, but they needed a 10-minute, either 2 10-minute videos or 1 20-minute video or something for their websites that shot of each hotel. And he said, I don't do video. I'll do the stills, but you'll have to get somebody else to do the video. I don't have to tell you what happened, do I?
Bye-bye job.
They just found somebody else to do the job.
Yeah.
That's,
you know what, though? It's quite difficult doing both video and stills on the same gig. I find it's quite...
But you don't. You don't. For what he would have done, is hire a cameraman and direct.
Right. Okay.
And
when because it's asking a lot. I mean, doing...
I can't.
And if you add audio, and it's like 2 different ways of thinking.
I can't. I get on my motorcycle and I go, yep, got my video stuff, got my still stuff. Like, I'm going to do a video every day. Yeah, no. You're right. It is a total different mindset. I am going to go out on my motorcycle, hopefully Sunday, and I do want to do some video on my motorcycle, and I'm not taking my still cameras because I'll just be pulled to use them if there's something cool, and it's not what I'm doing. I can't make that switch. But if you're directing and you say to the client, yes, I'm directing, I have a cameraman and I have an audio man, or audio person, and they're going to be there, and I'll direct your video for it. They won't bat an eye. They won't bat an eye on that. And then we don't have to deal with audio and learning how to use 15 new pieces of gear that we're not that familiar with, The camera guy is going to show up and he's going to, which slider do you want, boss? The short one or the big one? Do you want, this? I've got 2 different gimbals that I can. Awesome. You do that, because you can get a cameraman for $150 an hour. You don't direct for $150 an hour. You're directing for like 3 or 4 or 5 times that. Easily.
That I was thinking about when I took the marketing class, we were, part of the learning the marketing, we learned, print talk. and being able to have an intelligent conversation with a printer. And that's where I'm at with the video. I'm not necessarily going to try and do all the video production myself, but I want to learn it enough to understand the thought process behind it so I can intelligently give good direction to somebody, you know, if it was that type of situation.
Mm-hmm. And when you're directing nowadays, you've got it's either an iPad or a big video screen, so you're seeing what the cameraman's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you're lighting and composing the shot, and you're telling them to now crawl in. We'll just crawl in here. Let's try a short crawl. Let's try a faster crawl. Let's try a really fast crawl, because all you need is like, well, I need 3 seconds here, 5. So a 3-second short crawl or 3-second fat crawl. Everything else is going to be put together back in editing, which again, you don't do. You don't do. They won't bat an eye, folks. If they're looking to you to do, you know, video with audio and editing and stuff, they're probably not going to pay you what it's worth. And believe me, there's nothing that takes more time than putting audio into video and editing all that stuff. So
Yes.
if you're going to do it and do it right, you know, serious time. So bill accordingly. Or just say, hey, I'm going to use, you know, Steve and Stephanie Spencer, and they're going to come over and do the editing, you know, and the editing will be $1,400 per clip. And it's $1,400 for them or $1,400 for me, because I'm not doing it free. They're paying for it either way. Or as I told my friend, don't even mention it. Say, yeah, no problem. We'll get the video. And then you hire a cameraman and have them come along with you. Whatever you're making more than enough to pay them. Even if you spend a day on set and you're normally $3,000 a day, you spend a day on set and you pay your cameraman $1,000. You only made $2,000 that day, but you didn't do anything except direct. Even if it comes down to that, where you're pulling it out of your own fee, do that. You don't want to be known as a cameraman, as a video cameraman. You just don't.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's kind of like,
Go ahead.
I was going to say the last thing. It's kind of like having a video person is the same as when they say, I need somebody to do hair and makeup. I've got the person, I'll call my hair and makeup person. When they want the video, I'll call my video person. I'll call my, you know, whatever. Like, if you've already got that established, then you know what their rates are. You trust their work. You've got a relationship with them.
You're exactly right. No one expects us to do hair and makeup.
Mm-hmm.
No one expects us. Oh, we're doing a fashion shot. No one goes, well, hey, Mark, can you do hair and makeup? It's like, no, we're going to bring a hair and makeup person. I don't know why they automatically expect us to do the video. And in reality, most of them really don't. The bigger clients do not.
You can just use your iPhone for the video. I mean, come on.
Either that, Sophie, or seriously, you just slap a GoPro on and yeah.
Put a GoPro on the hot shoe and you're fine. Right on there. Just put it right on top of the hot shoe.
Yeah. It's like, well, but it's all shaky and it's too long. You can edit it. Yeah, it's just editing. Where was it? I was seeing somebody's doing still life with drones. Have you seen?
Oh, look at that.
Those
Got a
are
little ding
horrible.
behind you.
The other one has to come in and say hi too.
Hello. Hi.
Can you say hi?
We have a sissy now.
You have a sissy now, huh?
Mom's tummy, and I don't know why.
Came out of mom's tummy.
Yeah, I
Yes.
went to the hospital with my dad, and then my mom stuff one time, and then we had a sleepover, and I don't know why.
All right, Papa's got to finish his show. You go back in with Grandma and
No,
Mom.
I
Okay.
want to sit with you.
You can't talk.
Oh.
I will.
Okay. Where was I? Oh, I was getting ready to
Product
ask.
with drones.
Yeah, doing product was drone. How is that? How cool is that? You know, they're like doing these little crawl shots across the food, and the camera pulled back. And it was she's all right. She's okay. Oh, you got to go. Go.
Hi, Papa.
Give me a kiss.
I told him all about you when you
I'm sorry.
It's fine. You know, it just that pulled back, and they had a little drone flying over the set. I'm like,
Wow.
how cool is that? You know, everybody's going to come up with great ideas. I'm waiting for tiny drones to come out, because they will be, you know, like little 2-inch ones that you can fly through the food. I'm sure you've seen that Facebook video where they're working with the guy that has the big robot cameras.
Mm-hmm.
The lenses, they actually take the lens, and I think, what do they shoot it through, Mark? Is a bunch of bottles or something. The thing just goes right through the bottles, and it turns out
That's a Laowa 24 mil macro.
Yeah, it's a long lens. The lens is like a foot long, and the lens on the end of it is only maybe an inch that you're looking through.
Yeah, and it's on hydraulics.
Mm-hmm.
One I saw is on hydraulics. It's not somebody hand holding it. They've programmed it with a computer, and it just does this, you know, amazing trip. So, Sophie, what's up with you, sir? Miss, ma'am. I don't know what I'm talking. Sophie, what's up with you?
Quiet week. All good. Quiet.
Are you getting out? Being able to get out and
I've
move
worked.
around
I've
a bit more?
started work again. So that's been nice. I'm planning shoots for my projects.
Good.
Because people can now, you know, take the train and stuff. So there are hopefully one next week, and it's.
And you're back to your practice as well.
I'm back to my practice. Next week I've got a 3-day course, so that's like half of my week already used up. So anyway. So but I'm planning shoots and stuff, and work is back. Yes, so slow but nice to be back.
I think one of the things that excites me the most is that we may have come to the end of the stand across the street portrait fad. Because if I see another one of those things, I'm just going to pretty much throw a brick through the computer. I saw Sid laughing. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sid?
Absolutely. It's everywhere right now.
It's like the photographers are coming out and they're saying to clients, consumer clients, hey, we don't really have to bring lights and put much care into doing portraits at all. Oh, hell no. We can stand across the damn street and just snap a few off.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next time you hire us, just say, hey, could you drive by sometime between 5:15 and 5:20? We'll be out in the lawn, and you can get a couple of portraits of us and the kid. How much should that cost? Oh, I mean, we're willing to spend upwards from $8. By the way, if you could swing by Taco Bell and bring us some food like DoorDash does, we'll give you a great tip. I mean, I've just never seen anything so negative to our business when you really think about it.
Right. I mean, they have to be like, I've had people that asked me if I'd be willing to do remote headshot sessions. And I mean, apart from trying to shoot somebody through a computer screen, I was like, no, I need you to, like, part of it is you being here next to me, and it's the vibe that we're both putting off. It's an organic process, and you got to be here. And not only that, it's just the quality wouldn't be, you got to, no. So there's been some people that have been trying it. There's some local people that have been like poo-pooing the people that are turning it down. They're like, oh, it must be nice to be able to turn down work. And it's like, well, I don't want to aim my lens at a computer monitor and then, and they're not properly lit, and I'm not going to mail my equipment to them and tell them this. It just, like, I get some of them, like Jeremy Cowart, like he was doing really cool stuff where he had an overhead projector and he set something up in his studio, and then like he had a frame, like these old gilded frames, and then he would backlight the background, and he had all this cool stuff. And then he cut out like I don't know what it was. It was like foam core that he would put in the frame, and then he would digitally project the person's face onto the frame. So he would do a pullback shot, and it would be the environment, and he had like a light hanging with a light bulb with no shade. So he had this whole thing, and then the person was inside the frame. So there was some three-dimensionality to the actual shot, even though the portrait itself was like, that was nice because it was more of a conceptual kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people that, like want me to just sort of, aim my lens at the, they're like, well, I can get a headshot, right? I can just kind of you tell me what to do. And it's like, no, you gotta get your butt in here, and we got to do it personally.
Then there's the group that were doing the FaceTime portraits.
Mm-hmm.
So you FaceTime me, and I tell you what to do, and I do screen grabs of you as you're moving around. And
yeah,
I guess it's okay for it's okay for Pixel. What's that website?
Oh, Petapixel.
Petapixel is going to be all over it, because I was like, wow, look at this, really. But I really think it cheapened the photographers who did it, whether it's Jeremy Coward or anybody else. If we go out and prove that they don't need us, we might want to rethink that as a marketing ploy. No, you don't need it. I don't have to come over and light you. Just pick up your phone, do a FaceTime, and I'll snap a few off for you and send you bill for $1.80 or something. Jeez. Mike Thompson, what are you up to, sir?
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute on the phone here.
There's a button for that.
Got to get it plumbed in, and I'm going to go take some pictures with the Hasselblad at some junkyards this weekend, I think. I actually am going to start a series called Shadows, and we're going to both work with figurative and literal shadows.
Good.
So this is one that I've been thinking about for a while, and the more I think about it, the more directions I can see it going. And so we're just going to get a jump on it.
Excellent. Glad to hear you're out doing something.
Well, that's the plan. I haven't done it yet. I'm just sitting here been playing with the Hasselblad today.
Good.
So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. Luckily we have plenty of junkyards in Omaha. There's like 5 in less than a half a block of each other, so I'm pretty sure at least one will around.
I've heard people refer to Omaha as a junkyard, as a matter of fact.
No, that's Council Bluffs.
Oh, okay.
It's across the river.
I've been there.
Yeah. Well, then you know what I mean.
Yeah. Cool. It's great to have you guys come out and chat about photography. This is a fun one. Sid, anything on the horizon, my friend?
I got another headshot coming in next week. And then mostly just I've been trying to clean the studio. It turned into a mess over the last month and a half or so. So I'm trying to get everything organized so that when my headshot person comes in, it doesn't look like a disaster area in here. And then it's just, letting people know I'm still alive, and then reaching out to the people that canceled on me just to be like, hey, I'm getting to that point where, I'm not sick. I haven't been sick. So it's in your court as to, a lot of them is like, I had a gig with a local college where I go in and I do headshots of all the graduating seniors, so that they've got something nice that they can instantly, as soon as they graduate, they get a nice headshot that they can stick on LinkedIn and stuff. So that's like, I've already gotten one email saying, we missed that deadline, but we still want to do something for the students, headshot related.
Good.
So it's just a matter of, once everybody feels more comfortable, then we can just start plugging dates in and stuff.
That's gonna happen faster than slower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one good thing about photography is it's not, like you said, it's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of pampered a little bit in that some projects might get canceled, but a lot of the stuff is just on hold, until everything kind of blows over.
A wedding photographer, very down in the dumps. I mean, he told me he was going to sell his cameras, and I said, dude, whoa, hold on. Those weddings may have been canceled. Remember, the weddings were canceled along with you. Nobody doing weddings out there. No one's getting married except if they are doing it by Zoom or something. It's again, you can't go out and get married. You can't go to the courthouse and get married. You can't go to the church and get married. So the weddings were canceled too. As soon as this thing is lifted, your phone's going to explode. He sent me an email yesterday. He said, exploding it is.
Yeah.
Now the hardest thing is trying to find the brides, and people are trying to find, you've got 2 months worth of weddings that have to be fit into an already very packed wedding schedule. So wedding photographers are going to do very well.
Yeah.
Very well. They're looking at Friday weddings and Sunday weddings as well as Saturday weddings. So, and in advertising, Judy's phone is exploding. She's got jobs booked all the way out for most of June and early July. In fact, to the point now where she's worried that she's taken on too much work and won't be able to do a good job on it. So, and all that boils down to, folks, is just getting your stuff out there. Alex, with the musicians, you're going to blow up over there. You really are. Stephanie, something you ought to think about too, because there's a lot of performers down in the, and Sophie too. There's performers in your town.
They're all canceled.
I know, but they still have to perform. There is a website. There's a website called
where we live. We're in France, and the idea of investing for a photographer in France is completely different to the States. People
don't use the word photographer. There's a website called OnlyFans. OnlyFans is like Instagram. How do I say this? For porn. You can't do porn on Instagram. OnlyFans is totally open. So it's like gained something like, I was just reading about this morning, like 900,000 new users, and college girls are doing, can routines or whatever it is. But musicians are going there as well, because you can put your video up and people then subscribe to your channel for $10 a month or $20 a month.
Oh, okay.
And they're putting up concerts, they're putting up, music on there, and it's exploding because there's no other place for those musicians to go right now to make any money. And 50 fans paying $10 a month, so at least it's $500. It's better than
Patreon as well.
Patreon Patreon's different. Patreon still doesn't have a delivery system. This is a delivery system. It's exactly like Instagram with the ability to do, I think it's 5-minute videos. So if you have so the songs would have to be less than 5 minutes, but they can go up there. And then it's OnlyFans because you put that link to your thing up, and fans can come up and pay the money. With Patreon, they pay the money, but you still have to deliver the goods somewhere else, Vimeo or YouTube or some private thing like that, where this is all in one. So there's some pretty cool outlets that may be happening for us.
Patreon's lifespan is going to be extremely limited when people start to realize, hey, I can do that on my own website and have a paywall in a section on my website.
Except that Patreon itself spends $6.5 million a year in marketing.
Well, that's true.
So
there's that.
It's like this way I explain it. You got a mall. Remember malls? They used to be big. Anyway, at one time you'd have a mall, and in the middle of the mall would be a little guy who fixes watches, or a guy selling cell phone cases. Well, yeah, he could open a store somewhere downtown Phoenix, cheap store, and sell cell phone cases, but he would only sell cell phone cases to the people who happen to walk by his door. In the middle of the mall, he's at the advantage of all those other stores advertising and bringing people to the mall, and he sits there and sucks it up selling cell phone cases. That's basically Patreon.
Well, but that's
Patreon
also
because
Etsy and eBay and so on and so forth.
What's that?
That's any marketplace, Don. And the problem
any market.
the problem with Patreon's marketplace is the minute Google decides, you know what, we'll just cut them out and we'll have the YouTube version of Patreon. Well, they're already on YouTube. All the people that are on Patreon are already on YouTube.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Patreon just got cut down and they're done. So
Well,
I mean, they have a very tenuous business model.
You never build property on you never build a home on someone else's land.
And that's what Patreon did.
That's what
They're-
Facebook does. Look at how many times Facebook has come in and changed the algorithm and put people out of business. I've always said you're better off on your own domain, but
Yep.
but you've got to drive people to it. So it's harder. It's harder to get people to come to the stuff. So good night, Alex. We're heading out to.
Just one, if from my experience of reopening my practice, which is, of reopening, communicating on everything you've decided to make sure that it's that you're keeping the distance within your office, and to let people know about it actually reassures them. So in the emails and stuff, I've had clients say, oh, it's nice, I can see you've done all of this and all of that, and that actually helps them to show that you have thought about it before maybe they did on details, and that kind of made a difference as well. So I don't know, just a thought, because for us maybe it's obvious to do the right thing, to have the gel and masks and stuff, but to actually specifically mention it,
Okay.
makes a difference.
It is good.
So
That's a great idea. I want to get.
They don't necessarily dare say, have you thought about it? Are you doing something? Or
Well, I specifically ordered something for me doing consultations.
Nice.
You're ready.
You're good.
It's the Walter White Ensemble.
Yes, very nice.
Did you get the Heisenberg upgrade?
The Heisenberg upgrade. I think I did, but I'm not sure. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. I'm so glad that things are starting to happen again. I will. I've gone on record as saying I think it went on too long. I really do. I hope I hope that I'm right. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to see another wave of things happening, but we're going to have to bust our ass to get it back. So here's to busting our ass. See you guys next week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.